before we begin. Any ideas on that? What is classroom management? We saw time management. We saw now we need to see classroom management. What is that? Any ideas
Sir,
before? Yeah.
sir,
Yes.
yes, sir. So because you have already said from the beginning that we are using the word management in that sense, where we understand that management is something which is basically applied when we do have resource constraints.
Okay.
So we do have limited resources. We want to optimize those resources and the use,
Yes.
and we need to have the maximum returns. So for that, we need to manage the things.
I
So
love the words
exactly,
that you're using, Dilip. Dilip, you use the word optimize and you use the
it's
word.
because I'm from economics, it will
I
be
see, I
coming
see, I
naturally.
see, I see. Lovely, lovely. That's it.
Yes, yes,
So,
yes, sir.
optimal
Uh,
utilization of the available resources,
yeah,
exploiting the available resources for a productive utilization and to achieve more than what we are already achieving. That's
yeah,
management.
yeah,
So, now we are thinking
yes.
of the classroom. So, what's there in the classroom? How best can we utilize that? And how more productively can profit from what is available is classroom management. Do you all have your mobile phones with you?
Yes, sir.
Then, in that case,
Yes.
please do me a favor. Please take your mobile
Yeah.
phones and go to Menti. Type in Google MENTI. Go to Google, type MENTI. Or if you are a QR code reader on your mobile phone, you can directly shoot at the QR code you see on the screen and it will take you to the website. So there is a question there. Then you need to, the question is prioritizing some answers that are there. There is a
Can
question.
I go to web also?
You can go to web, you can go to Google and type Menti in the search box, and there is a code number given on the screen, 3345579, 3345579, whichever way. Type that number, but don't start doing it. Please listen to the instructions. So either go to Menti and type that number, or use the QR code to directly go. If at least two or three of you give me a sign that you could reach there, I'll tell you what to do. There's
Reached,
a
sir.
question there. Will somebody read the question?
Rank the following in order of their importance to effective classroom management.
Right, thank you. Please wait for a minute. Please listen to me. So the question is rank the following in order of their importance. So when you click there, you will find a list of prior list of preferences or list of things that are good for a classroom management. So you suppose you choose the first one, again you go and then you can choose another, you can choose another. So about 10 items, you can choose as many as you want, but in order. So whatever you choose first will become your first priority or first preference. Whatever you choose second will become the second most important item on this list that you do. So start doing it now. If you when those who have already finished can take a look at the screen and see what others are trying to tell us, the priorities of the other people. I'll wait for 1 more minute. I think it's stuck at 23. Maybe another 10 people have not submitted their responses, but it's okay. In case of any problem, you can just take a look at what others have said. Perhaps the others have some issue, I think. Don't worry. You can take a look at the screen now. These are the preferences, or these are the priorities that you have chosen and you think are important to make a classroom effective, how to manage a class effective. I think quite a lot of you have said that good and proper instructions are very important to manage a class. And the next highest number of votes have been cast in favor of the teacher talk and in questions to engage students, the effective use of infrastructure, classroom monitoring, pair work and group work, decent activities, strict rules and discipline. So this is the order in which you have given your choices. I have only one question about this. Somebody, I think quite a lot of you said that a good lecture helps you manage your class effectively. Will somebody explain it to me? How does a lecture help? The second preference. Would anybody like to switch on your microphone and tell me how lectures help effectively manage the class?
Sir, may I?
Yeah, yes, please.
Yes, sir. Sir, when we are teaching on a particular topic,
Mhm.
if we are delivering the lecture in a very organized manner,
Mhm.
then obviously the students will be very attentive. They will not be easily
Before we
distracted.
get into a
Yes.
lecture, what
Yes, sir.
lecture actually
What is the
is
lecture?
a lecture one-sided or two-sided?
Sir, lecture is one-sided always.
Okay, okay, right.
Yes. Yes.
Okay, I'll stop sharing here and then I'll come back to you. 1 second, just give me a moment. I'm closing this. I'll again share my screen. Right. I just wanted to check uh, what you consider very important from the point of managing your classroom best. Except that lecturing, perhaps I do not disagree with the rest of the findings, but lectures, I don't think they're really very effective in managing your classes best. However good they are, is this irrespective of the quality of the lecture, irrespective of the powerful presence of the teacher, lectures may not be extremely effective. But I mean that's not the point. That's not the point. I mean only offshoot. That's all. Let's move on from here and let's see what exactly I have to tell you. To be a very successful teacher, teachers need some skills. Can you tell me some of the skills that teachers need? You can switch on your microphones. What skills teachers need? Nobody?
Clear
Psychological. Somebody Mary says psychological. Are they skills? Okay, abilities. Right. Next.
So obviously, those are the knowledge.
Subject knowledge is not a
Sub,
skill. Okay, right.
yes.
Interpersonal skills. So,
Interpersonal skills. Yes, yes.
Sabanti says interpersonal skills. Mana Chibra says patience. Patience is one of a set of skills, right? Okay, good. Interpersonal.
Sir,
Mukesh.
creative thinking capabilities.
Creativity, right? Skills of questioning. Sapna, thank you for saying that. And then Sapna says also introducing the topic, ability to introduce the topic. Okay, what I have done is I have put all the skills that teachers need into some sets of skills. Each one of them is plural. If you see the screen, can you see the screen?
Yes, sir.
Right, good. So there are 5 items on the screen. Each one of them is a set of skills, not one skill, pedagogic skills, teaching related skills. Somebody said that psychological, and that also goes into this. Then technical skills, how to use technology in the classroom. Personal skills, how, I mean, it starts from the dress that you wear to the way make your presence felt. Then social skills, somebody talked about I think somebody has to switch off the microphone. If you're not speaking or if you're not using the microphone, please switch it off. Right. So social skills is another, that is interpersonal, getting along with people, mingling with people. Yesterday somebody said being friendly with students and all that. And finally, management skills. So my focus is mostly on management skills today, but it does not mean that each one of them is an exclusive compartment. All of them are overlapping. So each one overlaps with other. Each one, enters the other arena also. So they're all, one large set of skills we are trying to. Sanjeev, will you please switch off your microphone? Sanjeev Bey. Sanjeev, can you hear me? Will you please switch off your microphone?
Okay.
Yeah. Thank you. Then management skills. So these are the various sets of skills, and each one of them, as I told you, overlaps into the other set of skills also. But my major focus today is how to manage the class. Right. I'll begin with the video. This is a little long. This is about 6 or 7 minutes long. You have to watch this video with a purpose. This is a beautiful, very, very impressive way a certain young teacher, a teacher who is new to her class for the first time, and then she handles this class quite effectively. She manages the class quite effectively with a few tools she uses. So after watching the video, as I told you already, it's a little long, 7 minutes. And after watching the video, you have to tell me what might effectively with a few tools she uses. So after watching the video, as I told you already, it's a little long, 7 minutes. And after watching the video, you have to tell me what managerial or management skills this lady uses to make her class more. Okay, I think that was quite an impressive video of a transformation that a young teacher brought about in her class. Maybe you can start giving your comments about that, and then what did this teacher do to manage her class so that, she called them a class of rowdies. That's what the school calls you, she said, when she addressed them on the second day. So from a class of rowdies, it became one of the best classes ever. So what did this young teacher do?
So may I
Sir,
go?
Brief points, one sentence each.
Okay. She comes up with a plan and allowed the students to be creative in their own way and encouraged peer learning.
Thank you, Kasturi. Wungrian says connecting with the students. Right. Next.
Hello.
Yes.
I think this is bottom-up approach strategy to manage the class of rowdies.
So a bottom-up approach, right? Gandhimati?
So the teacher has quickly understood the problem of the student. So she found that the students are very much active. So she wanted to make them work.
Right. Mary says emotionally stabilized. Montgomery says giving space to the students. Yes, that's the word she used. When the other teacher asked her, what have you done? She said, I just gave them the space where they could be their own. Yeah, that's right. Thank you. I think wonderful. One or two others. I think Ritika says allowing them to take the charge. Ah, yes, she also says that. I allowed them to take charge of themselves, non-judgmentally. Freedom of expression, Mark. Thank you. Mary, sorry. Mary says freedom of expression. Yes. I call this student empowerment. That's the title I gave there. Ritu Dial says drawing the best from the students. Yes. polite communication, Girija. Girija, this is the first time I'm hearing from you. This year I am seeing your name for the first time. Good. Uma says, listening their views. Yes. Quite a lot of others, I mean, they're not coming forward to participate in the class. But anyway, that's good. Maybe we can convert our class to the class that we've seen in the video by encouraging a few other people to come in. Okay, one more question. There was one student who was shy and non-part identifying their talents, and Dilip says, identifying their talents and interests. Yes. So the next question is, there was one student in the class who was a shy, who was non-participative, who was perhaps introvert, and she did not come forward to do anything in the beginning, but there was a great transformation in her. What did this teacher do to bring her onto the stage and then bring out the best in her?
She shows one of her pieces and she gave her a compliment,
Right.
a written compliment.
Yeah, she gave a written compliment, just wrote wow in that, and then that gave a lot of confidence to the student. Yes. And
like connecting personally with that particular student.
correct. Thank you, Sananda. Connected with her by sitting beside her. There was one seat beside her. The teacher deliberately went and sat beside her and gave that touch of assurance. That's enough to bring out the best in students many times. By giving them space, she helped them channelize their talents. Upasana, thank you. Yeah, thank you very much. All of you have given good inputs. I think maybe we can move on from there. So this teacher empowered the students. I think this is based on a real story, and how much, what kind of big changes a teacher, a passionate, a committed teacher can bring about in a class, provided she knows how and provided she is really passionate about that. Thank you very much, all of you. Let's move on from here. A classroom, this is my experience. I think that if we do these 6 things, we all can transform our classes into the best, and we all can achieve much more than what we already are achieving. So there are just 6 points, 6 out of my experience. So I think making a small change to the physical setting, then allowing collaboration in the class, by giving good, effective instructions, asking lots of questions and eliciting, handling responses properly, and adding lots of games, activities, and technology into the class. So if we just take care of these 6 things, I think our classrooms can be better managed. So let's see each one of them in a little more detail. So the first thing is a physical setting. Before I talk about this, have you ever made any small changes to the physical setting of your class? Any one or two of you? Very briefly.
So may I?
Yes, please.
Yeah, I take them out for in the
What subject
outside.
do you teach?
I teach botany, sir.
Right. Okay.
So I just take them out probably to the outside garden. We have a lot of outdoor spaces, lung spaces. So
Wonderful.
I just take them out and make them sit under, maybe on a rock or under a tree, and just explore.
I like that. Has anybody done anything within the class differently with the infrastructure? Any personal experience? Some classrooms have furniture that can be moved about. That furniture can be changed, minimalist, causing least inconvenience. And some classrooms have fixed furniture, but despite that, things can be done. If anyone has any experience, you can tell me. Otherwise, I'll move on. Okay, no problems. Maybe you can see what I did. So these are some of the classes. These, what you see on the screen, are some of my classes in the last 6 months. So I went to different colleges. I am mostly a teacher trainer, but sometimes I get opportunities to address students also. So I went to colleges like this. Some of them are for teachers, some of them are for students. If you just see these 2 pictures, perhaps you will understand better. This was a class of teachers which I addressed about 5-6 months ago. When I went to this classroom, was like this. Then I insisted that people must create an aisle in the middle so that I can move about. So they all quickly moved and then created an aisle in the middle so that I could move about in the class during my class. I think this brought a lot of difference to my class, and then it made my class much more effective. What I'd like to tell you is that sometimes by making small adjustments to the way students sit down, infrastructure is utilized, doors are closed or open, windows are closed or open, chairs are moved or whatever. I think this one small change can help us manage our classes better and will yield us successful results. I'll show you something else. So this is one of my TV lessons. This was about 7 years ago. I had just retired from service. I was 59 or 60 then, and then I was invited to give a presentation, a live presentation on TV to English lecturers. So my students were English lecturers, all of them were lecturers. Then I went to the studio and the cameras were positioned in such a way that the cameras could focus only on me, not on the students, because the studio had never organized a program like that. It was only a teacher sitting there and then like this, like the inset here. So a teacher used to sit generally. So the teacher, when I did the other classes, I had to sit there, the cameras would focus on me, I had to deliver the class. This was the typical thing. But on that day, our government decided to invite college teachers and then they asked me to make a presentation. So I spoke to the technicians, I spoke to the cameramen, and they said, sir, nothing else can be done because the students will be facing you and you are facing the camera, we can show only you. Quickly, I took a decision and I asked them to reorganize their chairs in a corner like this. This was a corner. And I asked them sit down and then I moved to one side so that I had the teachers on my left side and the cameras were in front of me so that the camera could both aim at me and also at the teachers on my left. So by making this this was a 6-hour long class. In case you want, you can see that on YouTube. So the whole in 3 parts, it's there. This was one of my most satisfying classes actually on camera. I mean, that one change brought about a huge difference to the impact of the class because the camera was focused on all of us. The interaction was happening. They were asking me questions. I was asking them questions, and it was quite participative. Now, without going into too many details and then spending a lot of time on this, I just would like to tell you tomorrow when you go to your class, you just ask, can I make any small changes to my class infrastructure? Can I position the infrastructure slightly differently? Where is light coming from? Where is ventilation? Where is the door? Where is the blackboard? Can all my students see the blackboard? Can I position it slightly differently? Where do I stand? Which way do students come in? And then all these things. If you just spend 2 minutes of your time on taking an overview of that, and if necessary and if possible, don't tell me, sir, it's not possible. It's all fixed furniture. I cannot do this. I cannot do that. The principal. I mean, there are hundreds of complaints and hundreds of things that are not possible. I'm asking you, if possible, if convenient, if willing, try to make some small changes for 2 reasons. One, it may make your class a little more productive, and 2, students will certainly love that. If you make any change, students appreciate. Generally, they are asked to sit in a different place, in a different way, this way, that side. I mean, I think students would love that physical movement. So try that. That's all. Right. The second thing. This is a pair work. This is called pair work when 2 students are sitting face to face and talking about it. And this is called group work where the whole class gets into groups and then works, small groups of 4, 6, 8, 10 people like that. And then you form groups. How many of you, just to tell me, yes or no, you can write yes for YES and N for NO in the chat box. Have you ever tried pair work and group on your class? Chat box. The letter S, the letter N. Yeah, very good, very good, very good. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Almost everybody. So everyone has tried this. Excellent. I'm so very happy. Is there anyone who has not tried pair work or group work in the class? Any subject? Is there anyone who has never tried pair work or group? I'm so happy all of you have done that. This is wonderful. So pair work and group work has lots of advantages. It makes the class quite collaborative, interactive, participative, student-centered, and they become the center of the focus and they start learning. I mean, teaching is different from learning happening. So a teacher's job is not to teach a class. In fact, let me tell you here that the word teacher is already becoming obsolete. Not many people are using the word teacher. Today, the most common word that's used is facilitator, coach, tutor, trainer. I mean, these are the words that are becoming more popular. Facilitator perhaps is the most popular word that's used now at colleges and universities also have started using that. So a teacher becomes a facilitator only when students are involved, when learning happens. So teaching happening is different, learning happening is different. I've finished my syllabus is different, my students have learned this is different. If students have to learn something, in fact, the best way is to stop teaching. As long as I'm teaching, I'm spoon feeding them, right? So if I enable, if I empower, so what does that teacher in that video, Sakshi, also do? She enabled them, she empowered them. She said, okay, you take the lead. You call yourself the class of rowdies and others call you the class of rowdies. No, I'm throwing a challenge at you. Accept that challenge. And then one student said, ma'am, anything? And she said, anything is okay, but come and take my place and then perform. This is a challenge. So, I mean, by doing this pair work and group work, we are empowering our students, we are involving our students, and we are ensuring that learning is happening. Otherwise, we are only teaching. Somebody talked to, that's why I differed with you when you gave that second rank to that lecturing. Lecturing has limited effect, limited results. Lecturing helps only in some context. Suppose you are invited as a chief guest to somebody, you have to give a lecture or you have to give a speech. But in classrooms, as far as possible, to the possible extent, we can avoid lecturing. So pair work and group work are two collaborative techniques that all teachers must try. But at the same time, you must know that it's not always easy, because in the initial stages when teachers to students have not thoroughly understood the concept and they are not very familiar with that, what happens is there is a little chaos there. There is sometimes some noise there. Amit, do you have something to say? Dr. Amit? Dr. Amit, do you want to say something? Oh, okay, by mistake, I think. Right. So if we do not know how to organize this pair work and group work, what happens is there can be a little noise in the class. There can be, people think that it's some kind of a distraction, but no. The noise that happens is productive noise and it's a positive noise, and you can take that risk and then you can organize it. Especially language teachers. Language teachers have plenty to gain from this, and then if they organize these collaborative learning activities, I think the class stands to gain. In language classes, what happens is it's the teacher who is lecturing, it's the teacher who is teaching all the time. So language cannot be learned by teaching. Language can be learned only by using it. Only when students use it, they learn. Otherwise, it's, I mean, just listening and then leaving there. So teaching does not help at all. Suppose you have a pair work or group work activity conducted, no? Students need to use the language in context, and that's how they gain. And even other subjects also, any subject for that matter. So use it. This is the second technique that you can use to make your classes much more productive and profitable and rewarding and student-centered. In case you, because you said that you all organize pair work and group work, I would like one or two of you to experience any difficulties that you had in organizing that. Anything that went wrong, anything that you discovered could be done differently, anything stood as a stumbling block in your way of organizing this. Some of your experiences that helped you gain control over or master the skill of organizing pair work and group work. One or two of you, please. Did it all go very successfully without any problems always? Or were there any problems?
Generally, when we try to do the our own choices of pairing, then they'll say, "Ma'am, I'm not so comfortable with her. Can I pair with?"
How did you handle that, Mary?
Well, I would generally I don't pair according to roll number wise. It's like random, and generally sometimes I exercise chit system, or sometimes I do it myself. I just pair them. So in case if there is some kind of an issue, then I only tell them one thing. When you are in a family setup, you have different kinds of relatives who are there in your family setup. So
Get along
with
with
certain people, yeah, with certain people you get along very well. With certain people you don't get along, but that doesn't mean that you don't entertain them or you don't talk to them. There are few moments wherein you come face to face with them, talk and leave. So this also treat it as that. It's just a small momentary thing. You have to just pair, do your job, and just move away. Probably you'll get to learn the person better, and maybe whatever prejudices are there in your mind, you may get over with it.
Ritu says equality of work is important. Mary, coming back to you. Thank you very much for giving me that input. And I agree with you that there are issues like that. There are likes and dislikes and preferences and etc. Students may not like to work with somebody, and then teacher has to, of course, take control and then utilize that situation to teach them some social skills and some life lessons. Also, that's wonderful. I'm very happy that you handled it like that. When you paired them yourself, how did you pay them? On what basis? You said you gave chits. What
Yeah.
were they in the sets?
Generally, we are generally looking at a classroom where everybody gets involved. Like you have a slow learner, a fast learner, somebody who is good at adapt with the computer skills, some with communication skills. So I try to patch up that way so
Do you
that
tell them that you are? Do you tell them you are a poor learner? You are a weak learner?
no, 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 no.
Then how do you do that?
It is only to my understanding because I
Okay.
know the strengths.
Excellent.
So and I know their weaknesses. So I try to bring in that without even their knowledge.
Excellent, excellent, wonderful. I'm so happy. I think that that's my lesson too. I would have advised the same thing to the teachers in case Mary had not made that point. So thank you, Mary, for making my job easier. So when you pair them, when you group them, at the back of your mind, organize them in such a way that they get paired up, they get into groups the way you want them. So you can consider their abilities, their strengths, their weaknesses, their preferences, all that. But maybe don't tell them openly, but put them into the right kind of groups. In fact, I would have organized into breakout rooms, but this does not allow me. This provision is not enabled here. I just checked. So otherwise, we'd have gone into some groups and then tried one or two things. Anyway, don't worry. Maybe you might have done it in other classes. So whenever you do it in a physical class, so check whether there is enough space, and then you have to go with a plan. You just cannot go into the class. Okay, suddenly you decide I want to organize group work today. No, you must see where the tables are, how many chairs are there, how will they organize, how much movement is necessary. Or with the fixed furniture, how do they do it? And then how do they sit down? Preferably in circles. Circles are always better. If they sit in circles, semicircles, it's easier for them to talk to each other. There'll be a little noise and then all these things. And also, this management of the physical infrastructure is very, very important. The teacher must have absolute control over that. And yes, for instance, if you suppose you're organizing pair work, if you just tell them to sit face to face, it makes a huge difference. I mean, it's very difficult to sit to somebody who is sitting beside you. Whereas if somebody turns the chair and then sits in front of you, like in my previous slide I showed you. So if you just sit face to face like this, it becomes much more easier and it becomes much more effective also. So if possible, if the infrastructure allows that, try this and then make some small changes. And students would love that. Try these two things to make your classroom management more effective. Let's move on. I think Ritu gave some inputs then. She said something similar. Okay. Right. The next important thing that we need to keep in mind to make our classes managed better is the ability to give good instructions. Many times, if the instructions are not complete, if the instructions are not good, if the instructions are not simple, the entire classroom management related things can go haywire. For instance, I asked you to watch a video now. Before you watch the video, I told you what you had to do with the video, what you had to answer. Yesterday, also, the previous class, also, I showed you one or two videos. Every time I told you, okay, watch the video for this purpose. I want you to answer this. Similarly, when I asked you to do the clap, for instance, so I clap and then I'm going to say this, I'm going to do this, and you have to do this, you have to do this. And then I also cross-checked whether you followed my instructions properly or not. Otherwise, the activity can go wrong. So it's a teacher ability. A teacher has to have the ability of giving right, complete, easy to understand, simple instructions. Without them, things can go wrong. Good instructions must be precise. They must be often repeated if necessary, a second time, a third time. If students have not understood the instructions, the activity can go wrong. So maybe you can say them a second time. You can give them a third time if necessary. Then they must be made so easy because your students are not your level. Your students are, perhaps there are some students who do not understand everything equally well. So they must be easy to follow, as short as possible, as simple as possible. And sometimes you can even give a demonstration. So for instance, clap like this. So if I say, it will be easy for you to follow. So demonstration, what is expected of them. So keep all these things in mind and make your instructions followed. And once the instructions are clear, and naturally the activity comes out successfully, your classrooms are better managed. In the class, I mean, in that video that you saw also, Sakshi gave very clear, good instructions in the beginning. She gave time to them. So one student raised his hand and said, "Madam, anything is okay." And she said anything, what they had to do, how they had to take control of the class, what subject they could teach, what subject they could demonstrate, all that she made absolutely clear. And that's how the class became so very effective. So we must keep this in mind. We will do a very small activity. Do you all have notebooks with you?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Do you also have a pen with you?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. If you have a pen and notebook, just show to me on your camera your notebook and your pen. Thank you. This is just to check that you have them. That's all. Right. Good. Wonderful. Good. Great. We are going to do an activity. You need a pen and paper for this. You need a fresh page. Open a fresh page on your book. Or you can even tear it out and then you can use it. Either way, even if it's no problem. But start on a fresh page. So all that you need to do is you have to follow my instructions. Right? I'll give you, this is a time-bound activity. I'll give you only 2 minutes to do this. Within 2 minutes, you have to just follow the instructions that I'm going to give you in the next slide. What I'll do is I'll just check some people who have not been participating at all. 1 second. Mukesh Sharma, are you there? Is Mukesh Sharma there? Mukesh, tell me hello. I don't think he's there. So, because there are names here, but I don't think some of them are here. Neha Rani, are you there?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Good. Show me your book, please. Sonia Lucy, are you there? No. Vishwanatha Bondade, are you there? Okay, I think not all of you are in front of the camera.
Yes, sir.
Good. So whoever is there is fine. So now I'm going to start the activity. Be ready. So I'll give you 2 minutes to do this. Right. So what do you need to do? You have to follow these instructions. And the instructions are, read all the instructions carefully and follow them carefully before beginning answering. The time given is 2 minutes. Start now.
Letter on the top right. Sorry.
Thirty seconds.
Whole bottom. Dip your pen.
10 seconds.
Say loudly hello to the person sitting beside you.
Time
Hello.
up.
Hello.
Girisha, we
Yes,
can
sir.
hear
Done,
you.
sir.
I think your
Done.
microphone.
Yes, sir. Done, sir.
Wonderful, wonderful,
Yay.
wonderful.
Completed, sir.
Mari, very good, very good, very good. So, I mean, this is a fun activity. Actually, this is not serious. I just wanted to demonstrate how instructions can go wrong. In this case, of course, this is not a physical class. I could not watch you doing it. How many of you wrote your name on the top of the paper?
Sir.
How many of you wrote the full form of HRDC?
I, sir.
Many of you did that, no? Yeah. So many of you did the second one, third one, fourth one, fifth one. When you came to the sixth one, the sixth one says, now that you have finished reading, answer only item 1 and ignore the rest. That means 2, 3, 4, 5 were not supposed to be done. Only 1 was supposed to be done because, I mean, in the capitals, I read this also. This instruction I read is also read all the instructions and follow them carefully before
Beginning answer.
beginning answering. Before you do anything, first read the question paper and then answer it. If you read the whole question paper, you would have only written that name and then stopped there. But because you did not read that properly, because you did not follow that instruction properly, you tried doing the second item, the third item, the fourth item, and saying hello and all that. So if something like this happens in your class, who is wrong?
Sir, I think, hello.
Yeah. Yes.
Sir, usually the instructions are provided in a separate part
Hmm.
and they look very distinct. Here, it is looking like a full question paper and no instruction is given. Only the past 2 lines are supposed to be instruction for this
Correct.
question
Correct.
paper.
Correct. Correct.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, you're right. Now, my question is, if something like this happens in my class, who is responsible for the students going wrong?
Sir, teacher
Teacher is
himself is
Teacher.
responsible.
So none of you is wrong today. It's only I am wrong. My instructions were bad. My instructions were placed wrong. My instructions were not clear. I did not ensure that my students got it right. I did not explain the instruction to them clearly. When will you start answering the paper? Before or after? What will you do? You will read everything. Don't immediately start doing. Follow everything clearly. Right? Suppose if I had explained my instructions to you properly, if my instructions were easy to follow, if my instructions were simple like this, it would not have happened. I misled you, and also I put a lot of pressure on you. 2 minutes, 1 hour, 30 seconds, this and that, and all that. I put a lot of pressure on you, and I made you go wrong. Of course, this was a trick I was playing on you, but generally, this is what happens in the class. We think we have given the instructions right. We think our instructions are clear. We think our instructions have been followed by everybody. We don't cross check. Suppose after showing this in first instruction, suppose I asked you 2 or 3 questions. Okay, what are you going to do? You are going to read the instructions. When will you start answering the paper? After reading all of them. So whatever be the number of instructions that are there, you are not immediately going to do them. First, you suppose I got it elicited from you, I got it extracted from you after explaining the instructions to you. Nobody would have gone wrong. Because I did not take that care, most of my students went wrong. What do you understand from this? What should teachers do to manage their classes better? Clarity, yes. So the instructions must be clear, the instructions must be detailed, and the teacher must ensure that students have got the instructions right. Otherwise, things are going to go wrong. And then we blame the students after. What were you doing when I was telling you? Were you not listening to me? I told you 2 times already. These kind of things we say because, I mean, we put the blame on the students. Right. Thank you. The next thing that teachers can do to make their classes a little more productive, a little more better, a little more impressive, interactive, is to elicit. What is eliciting? Anybody?
Extracting from the students.
getting it from the students. Instead of giving them, get it. So instead of, telling them, you get it from the students. So like I am doing, for instance, I could have given you the meaning of the word elicit. Instead, what did I do? I got it from you. First, I started the class with management, time management, or whatever. I asked you what's management, and then you gave me the answer. There'll be at least one or two students in the class who can answer you. If they don't answer you, also you can give some clues. So you can give, okay, there is a word that begins with the letter E, and it's a 6-letter word, 7-letter word, whatever, or it like this. Oh, it's like bringing water from a well, some such thing. I can give you an example, I can give a picture, I can give the first letter, I can give some clues, so that my students participate in the class and then I get it from them. So a teacher's ability depends upon not how much he can transfer to the students, but how much he can get from the students. So if you want to manage your classes best, develop this skill, the skill of getting it from your students as much as possible. Don't say, sir, I have only 45 minutes, I have only 180 days, I have only 1 year, I have only 1 month, I cannot do that, I don't have time. In the same time that you have, instead of passing on information to them, instead of doling out information to them, you try to extract it from them. Eliciting can happen with a picture, with a gesture, with a clue, with a first letter, with a hint, whatever you want to do, you do. But try to involve your students by extracting it from them, right? How many of you how many of you think that you are good at it? Okay, suppose you want to elicit the word father from your students. How will you elicit that? The word father, you want your students give you the word, the answer is father. How will you elicit that? A teacher, okay. You want to elicit the word teacher. How will you do that? Do whatever in your class, your students must say the word father. Sorry, teacher, whichever word. Okay, the one who guides you through the academics. Who is the one who guides you through the academics? That's asking a question. Good. So you can ask questions. Yes. And what else can you do?
In why you celebrate 5th September?
Okay, that's again asking a question. So questions are one way. What can you draw a picture on the board of a teacher? Possible? Can you stick pictures? Just a stick picture with a stick in hand. Perhaps maybe who is this? Maybe it's possible, right? So you can do that. If you are good at drawing, you can draw a good picture. Or you can just ask me, who am I to you? Simple, straight, easy. Direct questions, okay. You can ask a question like, okay, there is an English word that talks about somebody who is very, very important to a student, and the word begins with the letter T, right? And then, giving hints like that. So, or you can give a posture of a teacher, and then, see, there are many ways. The drawing, the picture, or a photograph, or maybe like you said, that 5th September, suppose you show a picture of Sarvepalli Radhakrishnan and say, so why is he so very popular? Some such thing. So do whatever, but let there be as much eliciting as possible in your class so that your classes becomes again well managed. Right. Then ask lots of different kinds of questions in your class. Classrooms are best managed not only by the arrangement of the infrastructure, not only by delivering lectures, but lots of questions. I think it's not 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 questions. It's many, many, many questions. Actually, everything that you say in the class, can it be in the form of a question? Yes. Why not? Instead of saying, oh, this is the second point, suppose you say, oh, shall we go on to the second point? Shall we go on to the second point? Actually does not even need an answer. But the sentence is the form of a question, that's all. If the format is a question, you are not actually, okay, you are not waiting for everybody to say that. See, you might have watched throughout the class how many times I'm asking you to participate, how many asking you to contribute. The more the questions, the more the participation. The more the participation means, the better management, better managed of the management of the class. The class is well managed, the class is productive. So, I mean, when you ask questions again, you also must have in your mind what kind of questions you are asking. Because some questions are, I mean, not as helpful as the others to involve the students. For instance, I know some of you may be English teachers. You know what's the difference between a yes no question and information question. Do you know the difference? Anybody? What is a yes no question? What is an information question?
Hello.
Yes.
So
Deva.
yes, no is the close-ended questions,
Okay.
but informative or to extract the qualitative informations, all the I think is a open-ended question, descriptive questions,
Instead of using other words, I mean,
not descriptive.
close-ended and open-ended are another category. Instead of using those technical terms, can you explain what is, in simple words, what's a yes/no question?
So for me, I think yes or no question basically is very objective.
Right.
An information question would usually be more like explanatory or subjective, or let's say an essay type, which may not usually be answered in a single yes or no or in a single sentence.
Correct, correct. Sabatini, thank you very much. So, I mean, it's very simple. If you can answer a question with that single word yes or no, it's a yes/no question. If you cannot answer it with the word yes or no, it's an information question. Do you know my name? The answer is either yes or no. So that's a yes/no question. What's my name? You cannot say yes or no. You have to say your name is so and so, and that's an information. As simple as that. Now I know that there are two kinds of questions. Which questions are better for my classroom? Between the two.
So I think information question.
Yeah, so more information questions are better. If I know the difference and if I ask more information questions in my class becomes interactive. Suppose I go on asking lots of questions, but all those questions are yes no questions, and the students say yes or no, 50% possibility of being correct, and that also is just nodding the head or whatever. I think it serves limited purpose. I'm not saying don't ask any yes no questions. Right? They are good, but they have I mean they are not as effective as information questions. Somebody used that term close-ended and open-ended. They are different. Close-ended and open. Does anybody know the difference between close-ended and open-ended? Any English teachers here or any other subject teachers who know the difference? Okay, I'll give you an example. A close-ended question is a question that has only one correct answer. If I ask you this very simple question, how many participants are there in this class now? And if your answer is 46, you are right. Any other answer is wrong. 46 is correct, 45 is wrong, 47 is wrong, 45.94 is wrong, anything else is wrong. Right? So this question has only one correct answer, no second answer, no second correct answer. That's close-ended. But what is an open-ended question? An open-ended question will have multiple correct answers. Suppose I ask you, why are you attending this FDP? Why are you attending this program? So I think there will be 46 different answers. One will say, sir, I want to improve my skills. One will say, I'm not asking you this question. Actually, I should have asked you. And somebody will say, sir, I need it to get my next increment. Somebody will say, sir, I think this is mandatory. Somebody will say, sir, our principal asked me to go. I think this is some good diversion for me to go away from the college. Any answer is the correct answer from your perspective, isn't it? So if there are 46 people, 46 different answers are possible, and all 46 are correct. How else would you have ended that story? Suppose you have seen a movie and you ask in the class, okay, that story ends like this. And if you were the producer, if you are the hero, if you are the director, whatever, if you are the story writer, how else would you have ended this? So many possible correct answers. And so if you have close-ended answers, questions, and open-ended questions, a combination of them in your class, I think it's good. You must have a variety of questions in your class. Don't ask the same kind. When did India become free? So I mean 1947, one single correct answer, anything else is wrong. What's the use of asking that question? The answer is already there in the textbook. Make them think a little more and then say, why did it happen in 1947? Could it have happened in 1946 also? Or could it have got further delayed? What do you think happened before 1947, few days before, few months before? So you are, asking them to imagine, think, contribute, whatever. The moment you ask questions like that, I think students get energized and then students begin thinking, contributing in very creative ways. And similarly, there are what are called LOT questions and HOT questions. Again, do you know what they are? LOT and HOT? LOT questions are low order thinking. They do not need, yeah, thank you very much, Mary. So that's low order and high order thinking. Low order thinking means, they do not need much thinking. You can just, straight give the answer. High order, they need to put them in sometimes an inferential question, an experiential question, a question that needs a lot of reflection. Now you need to switch off your microphone, please. Sapna Chanda. Yeah, thank you. So, if a question needs a student to think, reflect, and then analyze, synthesize, I think you know that Bloom's taxonomy. Some of you may know Bloom's taxonomy. So as you go higher, the kind of effort that student needs to make to answer a question will be higher as you go up. So the kind of questions that need analysis, synthesis, creative interpretation, experiential. So I put myself in that question and think like that, and reflection, inference, all these are high. Low order, just memory, right? Or maybe just comprehension. That's all. So, again, in your class, there can be a combination of students. There are some students who are bright, quite intelligent, and then there are some students who are not that intelligent. So you must have questions for everybody. You must also know how to ask those questions, when to ask the questions, how many questions to ask, and how to handle questions, handle answers. So if they give a correct answer, what do you do? If they give a semi-correct answer, partially correct answer, how do you handle that? If somebody goes completely wrong, how do you handle? For instance, if the student gives a wrong answer, what do you do in the class? Anybody?
Sir, I redirect them
How
and
do you?
redirect and give a positive reinforcement, and I give few hints so that they can direct the wrong answer towards the correct one.
Excellent. Excellent. That's wonderful. Can you also involve the other students? Suppose one
Definitely, I ask somebody else to come in and then help his or her friend out or the classmate out by giving few other side notes and hints at the same time.
Excellent.
To help them out, so that the person who is asked the question can actually give me the correct answer.
Thank you very much. Thanks a lot. I think that's a wonderful way. So you can involve the other students. You can give some further clues. You can ask them subsidiary questions. Even if the answer is wrong, sometimes you can appreciate the student for the effort they have made. Oh, I'm so very happy that you have made this effort. Though the answer is not thoroughly correct, actually you can think it over again, but still I appreciate that you made an effort to answer it. So anything like that, I think you can handle a wrong answer also in a teacher-like way, so that you are still encouraging your students. A wrong answer is, I think, wrong only from the point of the content, but I think the students' effort and lots of other things are there to be appreciated. Uma, do you have anything to say? Uma Bhattani, do you have something to say? You can switch on your microphone. Yes, Uma. Uma, I'm not able to hear you. Maybe I think there is a problem with your signal, I think. I can't hear you. You can write in the chat box. Okay, so coming back to this, so it's not only just asking lots of questions in your class, but you must have a very clear idea of why you are asking questions, what kind of question you are asking, whom are you asking, when are you asking that question, what level your questions are, all these things. See, it's classroom management is all this. Classroom management is not just going to the class and going according to a plan and then finishing your lesson plan and all that. Jasmeet says yes. I don't know. Yes to what? Jasmeet? What does that yes mean?
Sir, for the questionnaires, what you were
Ah,
talking about.
correct.
Yeah.
Thank you, Jasmine. Yes. So the kind of questions that you need to ask, and then the kind of the timing of the question, and most importantly, the way you handle the answer. So if a student has given the correct answer and you just ignore it and turn around, I think the student will never come forward to answer your questions in the future. So every good answer must get the appreciation, and then even we also feel no, we feel happy if we are rewarded, if we are recognized, if we are appreciated, and if the teacher comes and gives a handshake. So I think the student will never forget that. I think there's a pat on the back, or even a smile, or an acknowledgement, or a word like excellent, wonderful, wow. So that video again, you see that word, one word, wow, when that teacher wrote on that small slip on which the girl has written a poem, I think that made a whole difference to her. The first, in the initial stages, the student said Zara is a zombie, Zara is a zombie. Later, towards the end, they all, I mean, motivated her, encouraged her, Zara, 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 please come. We are all with you. That kind of sound, that kind of feeling they felt for her. So I think the kind of difference that we can bring about in the class, no, depends on how we handle good answers, how we are supportive in our attitude to our students, and how we ask questions and all that. And you must also know the knack of asking the right question to the right student. So, I mean, like in the previous context, no? So we will not tell them you are a weak student, that's why I'm asking a simple question. Never say that. But you know that this student is weak, he cannot handle an HOT question. So when you have a LOT, a low order thinking question, perhaps you identify a person who can answer that question. So his confidence is boosted. Right. Okay. I think we need to finish the next 15 minutes. Right. So I have some questions here. Please assess yourself and tell me your score. Each question carries 10 marks. There are 6 questions there. So on a 10-point scale, how many marks do you give yourself? For instance, the first one, do I ask good questions in my class? If you think you do that, you can give 10 marks, 9 marks, 5 marks. Or if you think that you were not good at asking good questions, you can give less marks. Self-assessment. Do it silently. I'll give you special congratulations to those who scored low. Because this is a very, very, kind of a very objective assessment of oneself. And if I know that my questioning skills are not great, and if I have assessed myself lower, there's nothing wrong in that. Sanjeev, you have something
Yes,
to say?
yeah. Sir, actually, in our institute, have very less number of students, so I can put my attention individually. One can say
Great.
like that.
Lucky.
So it comes. I'm truly give my mark.
You're lucky. You're lucky. See,
Thank
we
you.
have only 44 participants here. Still, I'm not able to connect with all the 44 online. See, there are people who have switched off their radios, they have switched off their microphones. Some of them are not there. Some of them, even if they are there, perhaps are not paying attention to me. It's not an easy job. Even in a physical class also, maybe the students are sitting there in your class and they are not listening to you, or they're not interested in answering you, or they don't know the answer, they are distracted by other things, lots of things. Perhaps I think there can be 100 reasons why they are not listening to me or why they are not answering the question. So the teacher needs to have the skill of involving the students. You might have seen, what am I doing to involve you? So for instance, every now and then I am asking you to participate. Every now and then I am calling you by names. Now and then I am congratulating you. And once I made an effort to identify those who have not spoken so far. So these, even an online class where you can make an effort like this, that's what I'm trying to tell you. Right? So the more questions you ask, the more productive your classes are. And then if you scored, as I already told you, I made this statement, if you scored 60 marks, 55 marks, 50 marks, you are excellent. You are all wonderful. But I am very happy about those people who scored low on this. I am extremely happy because I think you very objectively you assessed yourself. You know, oh, here is scope for me to improve. I scored only 4 marks on this. I don't involve all students. There are two bright students. All the time I ask only those two students questions because they know the answers. What about the remaining 58 in the class? They are never participating in it. Am I doing something to involve them? Do I let students think and formulate their answers? Or do I hurry them? There are some teachers, come on, they ask a question, they don't give any time. Come on, come on, come on, come on. And then the student is under great stress. And again, that's a bad questioning skill. If I don't give them time, sometimes the student know the answer, they cannot put it in an appropriate sentence. Sometimes because their language is bad, because their sentence formation skills are bad, though they do not know the answer, they do not participate in the class. Suppose I tell them, okay, I am going to ask a question. This is the question. All of you first write down the answer in your notebooks. Now it's time. I've given you 2 minutes time. Now who will answer? Okay, you answer this question because I think I know that you have not participated in the class much. So what have I done? I have supported the students by giving them time to formulate their answer. Do I do something like that? If I do not do that, can I learn that now? So these are teacher skills. These are classroom management skills. Right? How do I show that I'm interested? I personally saw quite a lot of teachers, they ask a question and they turn the other side. They're not listening to the answer. So I think this puts them off. No, the students, I think, feels, oh, what's the point in giving an answer when the teacher is not even listening to me, when the teacher does not appreciate me? I gave a good answer, the teacher just did not say anything. My answer was correct, but the teacher did not even say, good. He did not even smile. He did not even appreciate. So why should I participate in this class? So, I mean, do I know how to involve the students, how to appreciate, how to show that I'm interested? All these are things that need to be learned consciously. If you are a teacher by birth, it's great. I think there may be 1%, 0.4% of you who are by birth teachers, who just like fish take to swimming, you take to teaching. And if there is anyone, that's great. But generally, the remaining 99% people, we need to learn these skills. Right? If possible, maybe we can do an entire session on the art of asking questions in the class, right? Okay. Right. So the next thing that we can do to make our classes a little more productive is to have lots of games, activities, something where even that clapping, for instance, was an activity. An online class had some limitations, but still, when I asked you to do that activity on a piece of paper, that was an activity. So if you have 1 or 2 activities like that in your 1-hour class, students would love that. Even if there is nothing else, you can ask them to stand up and sit down. Enough. That makes a difference. Students will love that. Right? Shake hands with somebody who is sitting next to you. Enough. I think they all love that. There'll be a 1 minute, perhaps, diversion, but still, when you come back, the students will be a little more energetic. How to build energy in the class? Games help you. Activities help you. Right? Try. Again, don't think this is only for language teachers. No, it's helpful to everybody. In any subject, anywhere, you can have some physical activity. When I say activity, I mean what they have to do physically. When they have to do something with their hands, something with their body, something with their physical energies. Even movement, for instance. Okay, all of you change your places. Enough. I think the class becomes a little more attentive. Right. The last thing. So use technology wherever possible. Wherever, whenever possible, to the possible extent, to the available extent, and as creatively as possible. Whatever technology you can take to the class, take that. When I was a young student, that's, as I told you already, some 65 years ago, 66 years ago, when I was a young child. And then all that we had was a blackboard. And when I went to high school, some teachers used to bring charts, that printed charts to the class, usually maps and all that. And then they used to, we loved them. Whenever a teacher came with that map, no, so we enjoyed, our attention was much better, and our understanding and our grasp multiplied. The same way today also, luckily we have so much technology that's available to us. Even that your mobile phone that you carry in your pocket also is a wonderful source that you have with you. You can carry it, you can play music, you can show a video, you can show a simulation. You can. Why did we do that Menti in the beginning today? We started with that Menti activity, So, I mean, like we all like doing things, and students also love. In that picture that you see on the screen, what are the different technological tools that I'm using? Can you list them? What am I using there? This is one of my latest classes, not for colleges, but for others.
PPT and case study, sir.
You can see a PPT, you can see a case study, and can you see a LCD projector there?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
And you can see a screen. Do you see a
Laptop.
laptop? Yes, you can see a laptop behind my right hand. And there are a few other things also, because I'm just citing them to you. What's there in my left hand? Can you see that?
Whiteboard.
Pointer.
It's not called a pointer. It's called a presenter. I mean, the correct word for that is the presenter. Presenter is the slide changer.
Microphone.
There is a microphone. There is a collar microphone on my tie. Fix it to my tie. And there is a small sound box, extreme to my extreme right. There is a small sound box, a Bluetooth sound box, which I was using in the class to play some music, audio, and all that. See, I mean, even this was in a small rural area where not much technology was available. But despite that, so much technology still could be carried with you, and then you could make a presentation more effective. With these things, my classes were certainly much more. Had I not carried them, my class would not have been that perfect that day. Because I had them, I had access to them, because I had carried them, because I had used them, my classes naturally became more productive. And because we are living in an age where internet is there, mobile technologies are there, video transmission, live casting, and all these things are, social networking is there. I think so many technological tools are available to us. It becomes much easier for us today to make our classes more productive. I don't know what technologies you're already using, what technologies your college already has, and even if something is not available in the college, can you carry it your own? Can you take it to your class? Can you borrow it from somebody? Can you team teach? Suppose there are 2 or 3 teachers in your college, and then I don't know if you've ever tried that. Team teaching has its own advantages. Team teaching with technology, maybe somebody is proficient, somebody is not proficient, you can work together, whatever. Right. You can also take these things to the class. Sometimes you can take some real object to the class. You can take a model to the class. You can take a photograph, a chart, a slideshow, a video clip, all these things. You can even, I mean, suppose you have created a WhatsApp group with your students. You can even share assignments in the group. You can share a picture, a video clip on the group, right? Like you are given, I think, lots of material after the end of this. At the end of this program, you are going to be all these things are going to be shared with you. I think the video recordings. Similarly, yes.
Sir, how can we make our smart classroom more smarter?
Smart classrooms are smart, and smart classrooms are smarter with the creativity of the teacher. If there is a digital board in your class, and if you do not know how to use the digital board, the class is smart, but the class is not made smarter.
Yeah, it has
your
a
creativity,
good,
for instance, slideshow.
connectivity. We can Google anytime, any time in there itself. So we can show all this latest technology over there, and we can write with our fingertip in itself. No need to
Sanjeev,
use.
I have a question for you.
Yeah.
Sanjeev, you have seen my slideshows. Are my slideshows different from any other slideshows that you've seen?
Yeah, more attractive. Yeah.
How are they more attractive?
You put lots of pictures as well as less word. You talk more.
Right.
Yeah.
That's all. That is making it smarter. See, the same slideshow I am using, and the same slideshow somebody else is using. What have I done? I'm using limited text on my slides.
Yeah, that I learned at the time of my PhD period in University of Hyderabad itself. So they also I get opportunity to meet a big scientist over there, and lots of many new technologies also I use there. So so I learned these all attractive. How could we make our presentation attractive? Making animations that I made also. So such way I make. But yeah, while you ask that more attractive, how could we make any more innovation that I can put over there, so you know something,
See,
so that
everything is changing
lighten on
every
there.
day. Everything is changing every day. Everything is improving every day. So, by keeping myself updated with the latest technologies, by keeping myself updated with the latest available tools, I can make. See, it's my creativity finally. It's not the tool itself that's attractive. It's not the tool itself that's smart. It's called a smart tool because it's enabled to be smart in the hands of a smart teacher. If the teacher is not smart, the best tools also go wasted. In the hands of a smart teacher, even the worst of the tools also become alive. Suppose you have a blackboard in your class. Is the blackboard a smart tool? Yes or no?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, in the hands of a creative teacher, the blackboard becomes an excellent smart tool. If I know how to use it, some teachers do not even know how to use a blackboard. They just come right here, there, everywhere, and then I think the student cannot make any sense of what's it. No proper connectivity, no proper planning, no proper scheduling, and then I just come, I write one word here, I put something here, something there, and then finally when I see, I mean, there is no proper organization. If I use my blackboard creatively, that becomes a smart tool. If I use my slideshow smart, I become a smarter teacher. If I use the digital board in my class creatively, the digital board becomes a smarter tool like that. So I have to, one, I must be smart more than the tool. Two, I must constantly upskill myself. Two things. Right. Okay, again, another self-evaluation. You can take it home if you want. You can take a screenshot, and then you can ask yourself these 6 questions again. You can rate yourself, and you can know your marks. Once you know your marks, you can identify areas where you have scope to improve. So the questions are: do I involve my students in the process of learning? Is my class one-sided or two-sided? Is it teacher-centered? Is it student-centered? Are my students empowered to participate in my class? Do I give them space? That's the word Sakshi used. I just gave them space where I do not judge them. I think there's a sentence she said when the other teacher first ridiculed her, and then other teacher was next day she was willing to learn from her. Oh, your classes are so different now. What have you done? Was the question that other teacher asked. And she said, no, I have not done anything. I just created space for them to be independent. So if you know how to involve your students, your class are good. The second question, do I employ collaborative learning tools? Do I use pair work in my class? Do I often put my students into groups? Do I take my students out? Mary said some time ago that she takes her students out. If possible, I mean, don't say, sir, I cannot take my students out of the class. The principal doesn't. If it's not allowed, it's okay. When it's possible, do it. Right. Do I organize activities and games in my class? Yes or no? The fourth one, do I give good instructions? Are my instructions clear? Do I ensure that my students have followed the instructions before I begin the activity? The activity should not start before you are sure that your students have understood what you said. Then do I ask enough questions? Do I do a lot of eliciting in my class? Do I ask the right kind of questions? Do I handle questions properly, etc.? And finally, do I accept individual differences? So all students in my class are not alike. They are not the same ability. They are not the same level. They're not the same attitude. They're not the same learning style. That's why am I meeting their needs to the possible extent? So rate yourself on these 6 questions again and know your score and you need not share it with me. You just tell yourself, okay, here I have scope to improve, here I have scope to do better, here I have scope to change, here I have scope to evolve, etc. So that's where I stop, and then you can just, this is a blank slide. So you can identify a few areas where you have scope to improve and then start working on them from today onwards. So if this class should be really useful to you, so you do this slide at home. So, I mean, do this slide in the sense, this is just a blank slide. You write 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. These are the areas I have scope to improve. Though I scored 60 marks out of 60 marks, still I can do better in this area. So once I know this, I think it becomes easy for me to, again, this is some kind of SWOT analysis only, but do this. Thank you very much. I stop there. We have another 9 minutes time to go. And you have any questions about what we have done in this session about classroom management, please feel free to ask me. And also you can, because we have time, you can even share your successes, you can share your failures, you can share your strategies that you've used, and you can contribute a few more ideas so that I'll incorporate them in my next class. Yeah, question time. Yes, please. Somebody else.
May I, sir?
Yes, please.
So sometimes I send the students, like if I ask them a question and it would be related to probably the prior knowledge, but they are not able to recollect. So what I do is I send them off to the library and I tell them, you have to find out from which book this information is. And I give them a time limit. I'll say 5 minutes. Since my classroom to the library is pretty close by, so I give them 5 minutes. I'll tell them, go, you know where the life sciences books are available. Go there, check it out and come back to me. And each one has to come and tell me personally the answer. So I hit at their library knowledge. That is, they actually at least go to the library, check out the book. They know which textbooks they have to refer to. And it becomes like a warm-up exercise for them to just go up and down.
Yeah, thank you, Mary. I think that's a wonderful way. You might have heard of flipped learning. There may even be a module on that, I don't know, in this course. So flipped learning is something very similar. So you don't first teach and then hold a test. You first hold the test first and then teach later. So you give them an assignment, you ask them to go to the library, work there on an assignment or a project or whatever, come back to the class and then discuss their difficulties, discuss their successes. That itself, I think, it turns the system of learning around. I think the Western universities in Europe and America took to this long ago. Gradually, India also, some universities are switching over to that. I think that's a good beginning here. I think what you did is something, in a very vague way, what you did is something similar. So you ask the students to go there, find out something, find one book, read one page, any one page, or maybe you give them a project and say, okay, by tomorrow, when you come to the class, you must have finished this. You must have identified 5 plants in your surroundings, just next to your home or on your way, and then take a photograph on your mobile phone, bring 5 pictures to me. And tomorrow I'm going to discuss various kinds of plants. I think this is a project. And you can talk about classification of plants tomorrow.
Yes, sir, I have one question, sir. Sir, could you please tell me that the ways that help the students to promote the sense of unity in class?
I think group work helps them a lot. Like somebody already said, it builds harmony among students. It helps them overcome their ego issues. Somebody said no. So if one student is not willing to pair up with another, you have a strategy. So this is building unity. This is building harmony. All students work together. A small group. You begin with a group. You begin with the whole class. You give a project to the whole class. All of you together must work on this, and you must come with some expected outcome. So I think the class is working together. And unity is, of course, a life skill, and this must be taught as a part of, or as intrinsically, it must be built into whatever you are teaching.
Sometimes they are having some kind of lot of misunderstanding. Someone's a different.
I know, even we have, no, not only students, we also have, no. We also are not united. Teachers have divided, teachers have ego, teachers have issues, teachers have superiority complex, inferiority complex, all of that. We are overcoming them, or we are working with them, or I think we are working in a situation where not everything can be easily conquered, and the students have similar difficulties. And it's our job, directly or indirectly, to help them overcome them, to help them. How successful we are is the second thing, but have we made an effort or not is the first thing.
Okay, sir. Okay,
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Sir, can I share something?
Yes, please.
Okay, sir. So, since we were talking about how to change the strategy to make the students learn better, so there is this one particular guy in my class who always used to come to the class late, and just 10 minutes before the class ends or something like that. Then first few times I allowed him, thinking it might not be intentional, and then when he came later on throughout the entire semester, I used to just chase him away from the class. I used to say, don't disturb my class, coming at the last minute. So then somehow I found out during the semester it was his strategy to evade the classes.
Okay.
So what I did was, so the next semester he started doing the same thing in my class. So what I did is I changed my strategy, irrespective whether it was 5 minutes for the class to end, 2 minutes. If he says, "Ma'am, may I come in?" I says, "Come in." Then I make him sit, and if I have time, I will say that we have learned so much. Others, please leave. You sit back and just listen to me what we have finished in today's class. And after like a week or so, he started to coming to the class on time, and actually before everyone else came.
Wonderful. A great strategy. Wonderful. I think you all evolve your own strategies depending on the needs. So your students are different from other students. And though there are some generalities, so there are lots of specifics. There are lots of unique idiosyncrasies that you have to handle on your own. You need to develop strategies on the spot. You have to think on your feet. And the same strategy may not work with all students. You might have seen in that video that student who comes and hits the other student every day, So the moment they all that unity in the class got built because of Sakshi, the next day came and that fat student, he was waiting and he was expecting that he would be blown, but actually this fellow came and gave a high five. Do you remember the video? I don't know if you watched it carefully. So that's the kind of transformation that happens in the class. One teacher can make a huge difference to the class. Okay, if there are no other questions, it's 1:30 already. I'm sorry, I think I should have stopped at 1:15, or I'm not sure. I don't know.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, yes.
Sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thanks a lot.
Sir, I'll propose.
Thank you, sir.
Please do it. Please do it.
So, good afternoon, all. I deem it is a great honor and privilege to propose vote of thanks on this FIP session, which is being conducted on 8th November. Let me first of all start by giving a glory to the Almighty God for making today's session really a resounding success. So first and foremost, I should thank a special thanks to our professor M. nagaRAJU, who, despite of his busy schedule, has found time to grace this occasion. Sir, thank you so much, sir. It was really a wonderful interactive session. Both the sessions, time management as well as classroom. So many examples you have given, sir. I hope everyone has enjoyed the same. And I request HRDC, University of Hyderabad, to keep more such sessions for us in future, sir. And finally, I leave you with this inspiring quote: we always work for a better tomorrow. But when tomorrow comes, instead of enjoying